Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tokyo Happy Hour. I'm Anime Cider, and this is Nerdigans. And tonight we're going to be talking about the 25th anniversary, of Digimon, Cowboy Bebop's team up with Overwatch, and some Chinese pirates going to jail. Anyway, here's Nerdigans.
A footy founding in the comics. There's a lot of shenanigans that have been happening over the past week, of course. Starting with Crunchyroll, of course, being disconnected from its customer base per usual. For those of you that don't know, and probably wouldn't because you were asleep when it happened, Crunchyroll had its annual anime awards at like 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it's just insane to me that of all times to do it. And yes, I know global audience and all that, but Shueisha for Jump Festa, which their customer base is Japan first, but at least for when they know they have a global audience, but their live streams go up at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it's crazy. I know people are like, well, why should we give a shit about Crunchyroll Anime Awards? Well, for me, Crunchyroll Anime Awards is basically what it does is it gives you an idea of where Crunchyroll is in terms of their customer base, how connected they are with their customer base. Up until I would say 2019, 2020-ish, they were somewhat on the same page with their customers. But then, like, starting in 2021, that's when it really became disconnected. And in all reality, that's when they stopped, communicating with their customers. And I would know because I in 2019, I actually went to a focus group in San Francisco for Crunchyroll. And they wanted to know what, us as fans wanted, especially for like Crunchyroll Expo and stuff like that. And because I said I wanted mangaka and manga panels there. That's what I got. And it ended up being one of the best, probably best events I've ever been to. But anyways, that's besides the point. But yeah, I would say around like 2020, 2021-ish. And I used to tweet with Crunchyroll a lot. But yeah, they stopped, communicating with customers and everything completely. So it's really insane to see this happening. But at the same time, and I mentioned it last week, with Perini's interview, it doesn't surprise me anymore based on on the direction he wants to go in. It really is sad. But considering the companies that they are, not the companies, considering the lineup they had Megan Thee Stallion, which yes, I know she's a cosplayer, but her hosting this kind of was a little weird to a lot of people that I talked to. I will say, give them this though. They did have a lot of really good Japanese performers though, but they had Miss Marvel there, Iman Vellani. Why would you have Iman Vellani there, of all people? That did not make any sense. You had Phil Lord and Chris Miller, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. You had Joaquin Dos Santos. You had like DeMarcus Lawrence and Mercedes Fernando. And you barely had any Japanese voice actors or hell, even performers presenting. Yeah, I know you had the performers performing, but still, you had a friggin' Aquaria from Drag Race there, for Christ's sakes. You could have had Rock'em Sakura, who's an actual cosplayer, but that's beside the point. Basically, it just shows you how this lineup here shows you that shows you that how disconnected Crunchyroll is from the fan base. But this quote here, though, really sums it up here from Perini. He said, anime fans from around the world have spoken collectively. They cast more votes than in the history of the Anime Awards to crown the 2024 winners. And anime is a powerful force driving pop culture and connecting global fans, and it is a privilege to celebrate and honor this dynamic art form, which is a lot of crap since the majority of your customer base was asleep. So.
Right. Completely missed it. Right by it.
Yeah. But yeah, similar to this has been a problem for a long time with Crunchyroll Anime Awards, where like one specific anime wins. But the thing that's been a huge problem with the Anime Awards for a long time, especially in recent years, is they cut down the number of categories and the number of nominees. And literally, that is the exact opposite of what people wanted. Yeah, I think it was like in 2020 or 2021. But what happened was for like best character, there used to be best protagonist and antagonist. What happened was Crunchyroll decided to be stupid and put Eren Yeager in both protagonist and antagonist, and he won in both categories. And there was a huge uproar about it. So instead of just fixing the problem and not putting the same character in both categories, they just got rid of it. And just have best character, main character. And then they got probably the weirdest change from what I remember. Yeah, the weirdest change, and people were furious, and people still are furious, is they got rid of best girl and best boy and just did character that needs to be protected, which really has still frustrated people to this day. Yeah, but yeah, one series winning like multiple categories, like with Jujutsu Kaisen this year, that's nothing new. But the other thing is like the amount, the timing, or the timeline for the past couple years is just weird, because they're not doing like just straight up from anime that was released in 2023. No, they're doing anime from like fall 2022 into fall up to fall 2023, which is just so weird. But Crunchyroll is just disconnected. Perini ran Funimation to the ground, kind of like we're going to get into with Rooster Teeth. Rooster Teeth has been dead for a long time now, and what can I say? Perini destroyed Funimation. Perini is destroying Crunchyroll, and it's just really frustrating that Sony, in the case of Crunchyroll, is not doing anything about it. But what do you think, Cider?
Well, I'm just glad that Rooster Teeth is finally gone. I've found it to be a blight since they abandoned Red versus Blue. Ruby didn't really do anything for me. I felt bad for the animator that poured his heart out into it to have all these people just tromp all over it with their fan fiction once he was gone. It kind of destroyed the legacy of Ruby for me when other people took over and just completely warped it around backwards and on itself. So it's kind of like seeing I don't know how you describe it. I guess it's like seeing All Might retire. Like, it's overdue. Like, it's like he's way too much time, way too much energy has been like forced out of this franchise than it really needed to be. I have no idea why some giant corporation gave Rooster Teeth a huge check and said, go to town on a podcast. But here we are, I
feel so bad for Monty. Like, as you said, Monty put his everything into this, and to see it completely destroyed the way it has gone down, it's just so heartbreaking for him. And right. You can't help but feel bad. But we did see, I think it was Production IG that did a reboot of it. And there was a manga that came out of it. And I read a couple of chapters of it, and the art looked really beautiful for both. So and I know there's an animator that is petitioning to try and get someone to pick up Ruby. If that manages to happen, do you think that Ruby could even be redeemed at this point?
No, I think it's been just run too far. Like, the Justice League team up was so painful for both the fans of Ruby and the fans, the busload of remaining fans of DC. It really was. You've met a forced team up before. You've seen these forced crossovers before. This was like the definition of forced crossover. Batman didn't even wear a mask. Okay? That's how bad it was. They were like, he's too pretty to put a mask on, and Bruce is too pretty. It's like, in no universe is Batman going to walk around with his face facing the sunlight. It's not happening. But yeah, I don't think so. Again, like, we need new ideas. What's wrong with a new idea? I mean, even the Chinese had to learn that.
Yeah. this has got to, like, people in the anime community has been shocked by this. I remember when this arrest happened back in December, and everyone was shook by this. And this is coming off of what happened with Kodansha and Shueisha. But man, what Kodansha said in response to the leakers getting arrested was everything. I'm going to pull that up actually on my OneNote because I really liked what they said.
So if you don't know, guys, Japan has been cracking down on piracy on manga as well as anime, and I believe music is in the third row. But in China, they just cracked down on one of the largest pirating organizations over there, right there. And
yeah, they did that in December, but now they convicted him, which is huge. This has never happened before.
Correct. The CCP does not give up their people. And not even what they do. And now this whole network has been convicted over there. And it's amazing. Japan is just going to town on piracy.
But this is what Kodansha said. Shueisha gave, like, in regards to the manga leaks, Shueisha kind of gave like a little bit of a corporate response. But Kodansha said this, and I got to give them mad props for them. They said leaks are not only an infringement of the author's rights, but also an extremely malicious and despicable act that deprives readers of the pleasure of reading manga on the day it is released. They are not messing. Kodansha's not messing around, and I know the mangaka at Kodansha like formed a group of what I want to say like a few years ago to fight against piracy.
Yep. Looks like it worked.
Yeah, and they said Kodansha will continue to cooperate with investigations to uncover the early barrel. I've never heard of early barreling before any of this either. Early barrel route in order to prevent the spread of pirated copies in Japan and abroad, and will proactively take measures against piracy to ensure the author's rights and readers' enjoyment are not taken away. Now, Shueisha, they like said some like lip service, but Kodansha, they went the extra mile and said that this is heard on how this is infringing on the author's rights. I thought that was really badass of them to say. But speaking of Shueisha, I actually talked to, because I'm friends with quite a few mangaka, and one of the mangaka for Sea of Salvation, you know, we were talking about piracy, and I was telling them, well, you know, Shueisha, we don't want to pirate. Us overseas readers don't want to pirate. But when series aren't available, or the translations are really bad and are almost unreadable, it's kind of not giving us a choice to. And what they told me was they're going to submit the request or my message to Shueisha, which I thought was awesome. And they said that what Shueisha wants, that what fans can do is, and what Shueisha appreciates, is straight up traditional handwritten letters to Shueisha on what us fans want. And I wish I could, but I can't write right now with my dominant hand. They wanted to, and obviously postage is expensive, but yeah, that's what they suggested to do, was to just send a handwritten letter to Shueisha's headquarters, and they're more than likely to listen. But anyways, but yeah, in terms of piracy though, in terms of anime piracy, I've talked to people around, and because I've been part of the community, really actively part of the community since like 2015, 2016-ish. And I've seen the rise and fall of many piracy sites, including like Manga Stream, Manga Panda, Japanese Box, what's the other one? Kiss Anime. I've seen it. And they won't go down. People are just gonna create new ones. Heck, we're seeing it with in gaming right now with with Yuzu. You know, the Switch emulator. It's it's not going to stop. Fans will find a way. They will, because they're not going to stop the source of the problem, which is making titles available for easily available, easily accessible, especially translated ones.
It's a tall order anyway. Yeah,
it is. Especially, it shouldn't be a tall order to have properly translated piece of media. This should not be hard, but certain publishers want to make it hard, unfortunately.
And that,
but this is true what Matthew said here. Without piracy, anime would not even exist in the West. It did begin with fan subs. Same with manga. A lot of manga would not exist. That's why actually a lot of mangaka, especially small, more independent, smaller mangaka, really do appreciate fan translators. Best example is Jeremy on the mangaka of Kengan Asura and Kengan Omega. I interviewed him about this. He straight up said that he liked the pirated version of the manga. The translation was way more accurate than what his editor gave him, which was an AI translation. And he submitted the pirated version to his editor, and he said, "This is the one I want for the simulpub." And that's how the fan translation group got their job translating simulpubs.
Yeah, and the Alpha Proto says here, like tape trading and finding fan dub VHS in Chinatown. Yep, and a lot of the time at conventions too. Conventions would hold like watch parties, like official watch parties at the convention of people who recorded this stuff in their basement. You know, like the audio's like in their closet. You know, it's so bad, but the passion's there. That's what mattered. You know, the passion's there.
And there's also series like, for example, like Zatch Bell. It's never unless Makoto, because Makoto owns his own publisher. Unless they decide to license it themselves, or I think it's through Kodansha now. I think you would be able to do it. You're not going to get Zatch Bell legally in the U.S. So what the fan translators did is they retranslated it and put a really nice clean version up online, and I think that same group is actually translating Zatch Bell too, which is so good. But yeah, there's situations like that where, like with older series, where the translations are out of date. So fan translators come in and also the scans look horrible. They will update it and make it look nicer and have the translations updated. And they'll do it. The best part about it is they'll do it for free. So that's why when people say, "Oh, the era of piracy is over," it's like, no, it's not going to die. Like fans are, pirates are actually saving old media.
Yeah, physical media is the other part of that. I would have no idea what the get backers are if it weren't for my friend who was on LimeWire, just downloading torrents of stuff all the time. Well, it wasn't torrents back then, but way back in the days of LimeWire, just downloading anime nonstop. And he's like, "You ever hear the get backers?" I was like, "No, what's that?" And it became one of my favorite animes ever because I'd never seen anything like it. It was just so happy and gentle, and then very brutal. A lot of people died in that anime. But again, like, this is what I think is happening. My father had a saying like this, and he said, "You got to let people go a little bit crazy so they don't go big crazy." And what Japan's doing right now is they're cutting down on the big crazy so that piracy goes back underground, as opposed to be like, "Hey guys, you can get this pirated anime here from this link on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook." That's what they're trying to do, is trying to force it back underground again, which arguably might be better, because that way you don't have like anime hipsters trying to tell you that like this really crappy 3D animated thing that somebody made in their basement is worth your time, as opposed to the dude that's like heavy into anime that's got this VHS caked in dust. It's like, no, dude, you have not seen anything until you've seen the what was the one about the space generals, the princes that were trying to overthrow the emperor.
There's a lot of those kind of series. Like
it was like they were in training to be. It was really old. I'm sorry, Record of Lodoss War or something like that. You know, Votoms. You know, it's an old Votoms VHS. You know, but that's like, oh my gosh, I like giant robots now, and that's just how it goes. That's what Japan wants to do, I think.
Well, I think the other thing is too, is that, and this is why these people are getting caught, and this is what the the leaker said when they got arrested, they admitted they were doing it for profit. And yeah, doing this stuff for profit is not a good idea. Because the fan translators are doing this for free. That's what they're doing it for, because they love the material so much. They're doing it for free. When they start getting greedy, that's when they get caught.
Well, speaking of getting greedy, have you seen this yet from Overwatch?
Oh yeah.
Here we go. We're gonna have to pause it. Obviously, it'll get copyright claimed afterwards, but during the show we don't want to get knocked down, so bear with us. But there's a lot of reasons to pause. It's pretty cool. Now that looks familiar, now doesn't it?
Yeah. Blizzard's cashing in, huh?
Well, that's just it. Is that like already I like this better than what Netflix tried to do. That's the worst part. I don't know if this is actually animated or if this is some kind of like 3D Unity engine crap that they do to make it look like 3D. That. But my God, watch him run.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, it's jam.
So good. I want them to do a full anime now of what is his name? McKay or whatever this cowboy name is, Ash, and all these other characters actually being the Cowboy Bebop characters in Overwatch now, the Overwatch universe. Yeah. This is so good.
Do like an Overwatch Cowboy Bebop parody.
Yeah, exactly. This would be great. Just run it. Just run it.
Number 8.
Yeah. That's Ash.
So beautiful.
Right?
Oh my God, the shade. Dude, a shader goes a long way, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Just look at the shading on the cheekbone. Oh my God.
Right. They actually put some effort into this. Like somebody sat down and was like, we shouldn't make this suck.
No, you get some nice definition. That's what frustrates me. Like with a lot of modern, even modern anime, and sometimes modern manga does it too, and it irritates me. Is like there's not enough. They don't go in enough with a shader or a liner or like just a little bit of a highlight. And when you just put in that extra shade or that extra line, it's just magic.
Mm-hmm. All right, so one of the guns you can get now in there is a gun themed after Spike's swordfish fighter air space plane, whatever it is. Yeah. Yeah, it does look. It looks hand drawn, and that's what blows my mind. Like
it's probably it could be a hybrid.
That's true. Gundam does that a lot. That could be true.
Manga does it too.
That's just really good. That's just like that's a cool design to how to work Spike's ship into the like game mechanics.
Yeah.
It's a revolver. That's the other part. It's a revolver.
You don't see that anymore.
Well, these games really go all out for their collaborations these days, and this is really probably the best example of it, because I initially thought they were just going to like copy paste Spike, Faye, and Jet into
kind of like a Fortnite
Overwatch
situation.
Yeah, like they were just going to be skins, but they actually went in and created like an in-universe integration of what Cowboy Bebop is. It's pretty genius. Somebody cared about that.
Oh my God.
What's the separation? Oh, it's so good.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. It's so good. They're out of This is supposed to be fun.
That is him.
Yeah. It's great. Somebody sat down and they tried to actually work the Overwatch character designs into the Bebop designs. So you got both characters happening at once. That's Doomfist, I think.
Overwatch, they need a raise.
Yeah, right. And less sexual harassment.
Oh my God!
I know, she's so cute.
Oh my God, they're great. Great.
So the other thing is they took Ash's companion and made him into like Alphonse Elric to follow her around and beat the pants off of her enemies. Yep. But Ash looks great as Faye. Like,
yes,
wow.
She does. Oh my God. They got the proportions down beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, she looks amazing.
It makes you like, Faye should have had a shotgun in the anime. It
Yeah.
makes me angry now that she didn't have a rifle.
More of this. Seriously, Blizzard.
Why can't they just do a whole anime? Like, seriously, they made like that stupid animatic about how the robots got their sentience and started their war. They can't make like 6 episodes of this?
You know what this
Come
kind of
on.
reminds me of? Doesn't this kind of remind you of like old school Borderlands in a
Yeah,
way?
yeah. Before it sucked, yeah.
Yeah, like the original Borderlands. I think I would say Borderlands 2. Borderlands 3, no. But like Borderlands and Borderlands 2, that's what this is giving me animation wise. It really is making me think of that in terms of like the fluidity and the shading.
Mhm.
It just gives you that. And
The
I love
attitude.
it.
The attitude. Like, this has
Yeah,
a
it
different
gives you that, like,
attitude than the
fun
Bebop does.
attitude.
Yeah.
That's
And
what it's
again,
really
like,
making me think of in particular. In terms of if we're going to
Netflix,
compare it to
take
American
notes.
gaming, yeah, Borderlands, that's what it gives.
Yeah. This is great. And I honestly, I was like Matt. I was Matt got it here. He says, unless they are making another movie or a season of Bebop, they need to walk off a long, short pier. And see, I don't think so. I think somebody over there that was in charge of this actually sat down and said, you know what? I like this series, and I don't want to crap all over it for V-Bucks. So here we go. We're going to make sure that people actually want to buy this product because it touches their nostalgia and rewards it. Are you listening, Netflix? It rewards your nostalgia. Okay? It doesn't usurp it, Ryan Johnson.
Mm-hmm. But God, it looks good.
Mm-hmm. Like,
so
whoever did this needs to
good.
be doing like a revival of Cowboy Bebop. I've long believed a spin-off would do great, just a whole entire
I think you
different
should
group
do
of people.
don't do like a reboot. Spin-off, yeah. Sequel, yeah. Reboot, no. Leave it alone.
Right, don't reboot it. No, none of that. None of that.
No.
See, Blizzard hasn't come out with the full details about this yet. We'll find out more on March. When did they say? March 12th. So we'll find out on the 12th.
It's going to be busy because we got no. Yeah, it's a couple days after Digimon Con.
Oh yeah, we got that to announce too, and we have a special video about it. But one thing I want to wrap up about this before we move on to Digimon is that I've yet to see corporations really go out and make an effort like this. I was legitimately surprised when I was told.
It's been a long time, Cider. It's been like I think the last time we've seen corporations really go all out on this is like in the 2010s, like the early 2010s was when we saw something like corporations go all out like this.
Well, yeah, we got the Halo movies, the Halo anime. Right around then. So yeah, when they actually
Borderlands around then too.
Yep.
And then we had we had Grand Theft Auto 4 or Grand Theft Auto 5 was around then as well. Or like that was late 2000s, early 2010s. I think that was when because I still have my promotional stuff from Call of Duty when I worked at GameStop. So that was like Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, and Call of Duty 5 was around that era as well, late 2000s, early 2010s. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, there was they didn't go all out on Bayonetta. No, they should have. But I'm trying to think what else was big at that time in terms of marketing. Like this.
Well, that's just it. It's like that's what I'm pointing out is that it's been a very long time since we've seen corporations return to form and say we're not going to insult people for money. We're not going to give them Fortnite skins. We're going to sit down and care about the media. I don't know if this will ever happen again. I don't know if they did a studio madhouse thing and almost went out of business trying to make this happen. But good job. Let's just say for today, for this moment, good job, Blizzard. Thanks. You did a good thing.
I think about it, it was the early 2010s, late 2000s, because you had Halo, you had You had Metal Gear was late 2000s, I think. Yeah, you had Metal Gear, you had Halo, you had Call of Duty, you had Borderlands and Grand Theft Auto as well. Yeah, it was around, and I think Red Dead as well around that time.
Well,
yeah.
And then, on that note, we do
feel so old because I was watching it on Fox.
Yeah, same. That's where I found it. Yeah. Yeah. I had one of those second generation Digimon, Digivices. That's what it is. Digivice. Yeah. I had the black one. I had Ken's. And it's edgy, the Digimon Emperor. But yep, 25 years of this.
So beautiful. Oh my God, I love the art for it.
They really, again, like Japan's taking their anniversaries more seriously than we are. Like, for instance, the Power Rangers 30th anniversary happened and the least effort ever was put into it. Most of it was filmed in a garage. So, but here we have this Japan sitting back and saying like 25 years of Digimon. I made a post about Digimon about a month ago that they, unlike Pokemon, they kind of failed the entry level aspect of making a franchise last forever the way that Pokemon did. In that you have to know a lot about Digimon to get into it. And you have to understand there's two different worlds happening in Digimon. Whereas in Pokemon, it's all like, we're going to go catch some monsters and make them dogfight for us. Hooray! And meanwhile, the Digimon's like, we have gods, we have minor gods, we have little babies that can't be, harmed. We have primary village. Then we have the human world. And occasionally when you get hit by a truck, you go to the digital world. It's just... It's such a bizarre kind of like thing, but it's so charming.
Well, yeah, the first 3 seasons, like up to Tamers, I love Tamers is my favorite season. I think Tamers is like the fan favorite season. It was really easy to understand. It was Frontiers, and after that was where it got like really convoluted.
Well, that's what it is, though, is that like it's a very convoluted concept. It's not a bad thing. I really like the concept more than Pokemon. If I'm really honest with you, I like Digimon better than Pokemon, but it's really hard to explain to people. Unlike Pokemon, which is just dogfighting. There's nothing important about it that from game to game, from installment to installment, other than the thing you have to catch. Whereas Digimon's like, we have gods and we have Lucifer, for goodness sake.
Lucifer,
we have the devil.
That's the one thing about Frontier I couldn't stand was they had Lucimon. Lucimon was amazing. And they wasted him.
Well, they did at the end, literally. Yeah. Susanowomon totally wasted Lucimon at the end there. That was...
I know.
But again, like this is the thing with Digimon is that if you follow along with the original team, they've had a recent comeback with Digimon Adventure 2 and 3. And these were movies that sort of explained missing Digidestined and then her crazy Digimon getting way out of control.
Oh, you mean Digimon Try? We have
Digimon Try, my bad.
And then Digimon Adventure 2, the beginning, which I have yet to see. I need to watch it, but the Blu-ray is coming out actually on my birthday on the 29th of May. So I'll have to wait until then.
And more recently, the recent adventure movie had the like ultimate evolution of Agumon and Gabumon, where they were like endowed with different powers now, and they had become like the supreme avatars of courage and friendship and that sort of thing. And in that way, it becomes a more rewarding experience if you followed it from the days when they were just teaching the kids to eat meat, apples, that kind of thing. And now they're gods, if you will, and they're adults, and it's a much more rewarding story if you've seen it the whole way through. And that's the tragedy of Digimon, is that you have to see it the whole way through in order to feel the gravity of what these kids have gone through.
You gotta watch Digimon in the sub though, because the dub
it's a way
I know we
different
all grew up
animal.
on the dub, but like the sub, when you watch the sub, especially with the soundtrack, the original soundtrack, oh my god, it's a completely different experience.
Right. And again, I mean, like, so many differences between the Digimon in America and the Digimon in Japan. Digimon in Japan was geared toward merchandising, of course, but Digimon in America was so much more geared toward merchandising. Like, the theme song alone strips out so much meaning to what the story is. Because, you know, Digimon, Digimon. No, the anime's opening sets like this adventure atmosphere of these kids that are just they're discovering themselves, they're discovering their autonomy, they're being forced out into the wild, and it's all right there in the opening. But it's totally missing in the American version. It's like, hey kids, buy the action figures and the annoying beeping machines that drive your parents nuts.
But at least, unlike with, say, a lot of the 4Kids dubs, I got to give Saban credit where credit is due. They said that they tried to keep as much of the original story intact. They tried to not censor it. So that's why at least the story still had as much meaning as it did, minus, puns occasionally. It wasn't, we still had like the death of Wizardmon and Tamers. We had that whole thing with Leomon dying. Oh my god! And what happened to Jerry through when she was grieving,
right.
and what she went through with the D Reaper taking over her, like that symbolizing her grief, like controlling her or consuming her, and then what Beelzebub did to try and make up for the sin of killing, because he was responsible for killing Leomon.
Like, Beelzebub, not Beelzebub. We haven't got the Beelzebub yet. That's a little later.
Yeah, Beelzebub, but you know what I mean. It's just you have all this powerful story here, and I just got to give props to what Saban at least did as much as they could to keep that original story intact.
Yep.
Without censoring and not. I know they had to do the milkshakes over the sake.
Well, one of the things.
It could have been worse. It could have been hot sauce like in GX.
It's true. One of the things that, or jelly rolls like Brock in Pokemon with the clear rice balls.
Jelly donuts.
I love these jelly donuts. Yeah. But one of the things that Digimon, like you pointed out, seems to always do better than Pokemon is the emotional punch. Yes, you've got Pikachu, clone Pikachu beating the crap out of regular Pikachu in the original one, and Ash dying, and Pikachu trying to revive him. Yes, that's very impactful. But almost every Digimon series has the tearjerker, heartstring ripper moment, and it's never cheesy. It's always earned. They always manage to make you care about, like when Shoutmon, this little dork over here with the microphone, little red guy over here. I don't know if you could see my mouse, but little dork guy. He almost dies, and you're like, no, you're annoying, but I don't want you to die. It really, they find a way. They really do, and.
Or when Ducato's rage caused Guillemon to have that dark Digivolution.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
That's why Tamers is like the best season. It really hits you.
They took everything they learned from 1 and 2. That's the thing.
Yeah, and they really went for it. Oh my god. That's the one season that if any season deserves a sequel in terms of Digimon, that season deserves
10 years after.
Especially with how it ended. And I've talked about it with Jacob, Society Reviews, about this before. If they do a sequel for Tamers, I want it in movie form, just like with Try. That's the only way I think it would work, and I would be okay with it. If they want to do episodes or whatnot, like 30-minute episodes, fine. But I kind of would like to see it in movie form, like with what we got with Try, and see what they could do with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and again, we may one day, because again, like Japan takes this stuff seriously. They're going to do 20 years after Deca Ranger. These people are almost 60, and they're gonna have them dress up like Super Sentai characters they played at a children's show like 20 years ago.
It kind of almost sounds like Ranger Reject, but in Ranger Reject, the Sentai. Oh God, I got spoiled because they're actually clones.
Yeah.
It's Ranger Reject. If you are a Sentai fan, go read Ranger Reject. Your mind will be blown. It is batshit insane.
Yeah. It's done very well, in fact, and we'll get to that when it has a few more episodes under its belt. So there's something more to talk about it. But
yeah,
Digimon Tamers almost got a sequel, but apparently it would have been too based. Yep, and I believe that.
Nah, Tamers is not too based for Japan. Tamers is awesome. Like,
well, you got to remember, Cowboy Bebop got banned there, and its popularity in America won Bebop its right to distribution in Japan. So I highly believe that the sequel to Tamers would have been way over like the line for what Japanese censors would deal with, because think about the trajectory they were going with the little redheaded girl. I can't remember her name
Jerry,
now.
you mean?
No, the little redheaded girl, the Rebecca.
With Rika?
Rika's trajectory, like of healing her wounds of her parents just abandoning her to Digimon, that like leaving her alone with the hobby rather than their parenting. The trajectory of her being on this self-discovery thing was never really realized, even with Sakuramon. It didn't really fill the gap that she had not having her parents in her life. So that sequel was obviously going to head into her rectifying that with both of her parents leaving her for the corporate world, you know?
Yeah, and then there was the romance going on too. You had going on with Rika as well. There was a couple of ships going on, obviously with Kato and
Jerry.
Yep. And then Rika had her thing going on too.
Yep. It's too bad Henry was going to be left with Terriermon, you know? Talks so much sass to him.
The third wheel.
Yeah, that Terriermon just talks so much sass to him.
I love Terriermon. I actually have a Terriermon plushie on my wall. I love him.
Righteous.
Yeah, I had to. Like, after I watched, I think it was on, this is back when Twitch was awesome, and they would do, like, Digimon marathons, and I was watching Tamers on Twitch, and I'm like, yeah, I have to get it. Terriermon.
So Alpha Proto says, wow, Japan is not the same place that I grew up knowing. The censorship has really locked down the past 20 years. It's like night and day.
I agree.
It's certain types of censorship is the thing. The sexual exploitation has gone through the roof thanks to Shinzo Abe.
Well, I mean, look at what happened with Bleach, with Orihime. There was a reason why Kubo fought to get Bleach on the late night block, especially for when Orihime had her titty scene with and that got cut, and that was one of the scenes that Kubo really fought to get in the anime. That was actually one of the reasons why Kubo wanted the late night slot, was specifically for that scene, and it not showing not airing really kind of pissed him off. So yeah, when you're getting titty scenes cut, that is a problem.
Well, it's anime. What else is it supposed to do?
Especially in a late night slot for adults, that's kind of a problem.
So again, like we're looking at this from the American perspective, I guess. But this is the other thing to remember, is that the government is spending loads of money on getting the populace to make children. So this is why that particular censorship stands out, because of all the things to cut out of an adult-themed anime is the inspiration to be amorous, right? I'm trying to be very YouTube friendly here, okay? So you know what I'm talking about, you know? And so it's bizarre in a way, but it makes sense because the Japanese censors have this rule. Now, I don't know if this channel's still on the air or not, but there used to be an entire channel in Japan dedicated to not webcams, but cameras in the floors of elevators. And Japan passed a law that you couldn't publicly air footage of pubic hair. And so that stopped a lot of, well, see what was happening. The whole point of that was so they could catch girls walking into the elevator not being properly dressed, you see. And so that was the point of that whole channel with all the programming it had. So this is the thing, is that Japan has grown in its censorship on that regard. But as far as the media trying to get people to make babies, that has been pushed to like the absolute maximum.
Well, luckily ATX still exists because that's where all the uncensored anime is. They like show them full. Well, with the exception of Ayakashi Triangle, for some reason they censor. In regards to that one, I think it's based on what my insider said. I think for that one, I think it was because they wanted to sell Blu-rays more than anything else, because that's kind of a problem. That's kind of a thing going on too over there. Part of it is for Blu-ray sales, and part of it is regulations. They're trying to get a little greedy over there.
So Red Streak says, I found it on Anime News Network. The headline reads, Digimon Tamer's 20th anniversary stage show features cancel culture villain. So that
was Westerners that were pissed off about it. It wasn't Japanese people. Nah, it was Westerners that were mad.
So I think that's what he's talking about then, is that the US didn't want the sequel because it was too much for the US. Want the sequel.
It's the US. And actually it's real US fans want the sequel too. It's just it's the tourists, the SJW tourists specifically, that don't want it.
Well, so Alpha Proto says, growing up, all the shows had to be censored before getting imported to the US. They had titties in all shonen shows. Yeah. It was a better time.
Especially back in the day, when everything was being broadcasted on television, the regulations are stricter, or they were especially a lot stricter back in the 90s and the 2000s. And now the thing that bothers me now is that we're on streaming, so there's really no excuse. But the thing is, and this is what I've found in my research anyway, is that these streaming services are paying for the license for the Japanese broadcast version. Now, there's a separate version for the uncensored version that they could pay the license for. High Dive has been starting to do that a little bit more. High Dive is the one that tends to do that. They did it for They did it for Madosehe No Slave specifically, and they've done it for like Peter Grill, and I think they did it for Redo of Healer as well. Yeah, but Ayakashi Triangle, they didn't, unfortunately. But yeah, the Blu-rays, though, which are licensed by Sony Home Entertainment, they're all uncensored. So if you're worried about Blu-ray releases being censored by Sony, it's not happening. Those are uncensored, and Crunchyroll's not the one licensing them anymore. Sony has taken over, for those that are worried.
Yep, but they did a goof. They're Sony. They did a big goof, and they're going to pay for it big time here, because I don't know if you caught this. You probably did, because it's right up anime fan alley. Sony Music shuts down the Prism Project virtual talent brand completely and allows them to walk away, by the way, with the VTuber accounts, the skins, and all the branding.
Why would you do that? That's just, okay, you know what drives me nuts, speaking of? Twitch is losing money, right? All Twitch has to do is just partner up with VTube and with the VTubers. Just do that, and Twitch will make all of its money back easily. Probably within like a few months, they would make all their money back and then profit. Same thing with Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll has partnered with VTubers. They could have, and I asked this on Twitter too, they could have had VTubers as part on their Crunchyroll Anime Awards. They actually had a meet and greet at Crunchyroll Expo 2022, I think it was. Yeah, You could have done that too. But this is stupid. Why would you do this, Sony? You want to lose money? You're already losing money with Crunchyroll because you put a delusional idiot in charge. Yeah. Jeez, what are you doing?
They're on a kamikaze mission. The official announcement reads, all 18 currently managed talents will become independent performers from April 1st, 2024 forward under their current talent names and personas, and will be transferred the rights to their character images to permit a seamless transition to independent talent activities utilizing their current YouTube and other social media accounts. So they're handing them everything associated with this that they spent millions of dollars building these characters, these personas, these performers up on. They're just letting them go out into the independent sphere. I
Well,
just
at least
nuts.
Sony isn't being a complete dick and keeping their the rights to their name or anything like that. That could have been very messy. They're giving them the rights to their name, to their persona, everything. So it's not like they're completely starting over from scratch.
Well, again, like, but that's the problem is that what are they doing that? See, when Niji Sanji sends people out, they take away everything. They're gone. They graduate. The character disappears forever. The YouTube channel gets locked up tight, privated everything. You never see him again if you didn't record it yourself.
Yeah.
This is what I don't understand is that the corporations don't have an incentive to let these people take all this branding, to take all of this money they put into them, this appeal, and just go out into the independent sphere and work for themselves. So that's why I wonder if, like what you said, is that this is some kind of protracted effort to bring Sony and Twitch together. That they're obviously going to migrate to Twitch. They're going to push the boundaries of what you can do with anime boobies on Twitch. And then Sony's going to observe. Well, again, we'll see what they can accomplish. But I think that's what Sony's trying to do, is use them as some kind of bridge to build a new streaming platform or some type of like VTuber centered platform by letting these people go out and experiment on other platforms and secretly report back to them.
Well, the thing is with Twitch, I did see something on that Twitch was going to unban accounts, but the problem is that Twitch still is I just don't think Twitch is going to let VTubers stay on there. I don't know what it is, why they keep banning them. Maybe it's because the admins are just are the type of people, because you are dealing with a variety of psycho people that are admins, a lot of pronouns and bios and all of that.
No, the VTubers have a nasty habit of shutting off their clothes midstream on accident.
They still let thoughts on there though.
Well, of course they let thoughts on there. Here's the thing though, is that COPPA, the federal government, the U.S. federal government's laws about what you can show on the internet without a paywall specifies cartoon nudity as a greater offense than regular nudity. Because think about it, you're in a shower commercial, like one of those Olay shower commercials. You got probably a lady's naked backside in that. That's fine to show. But God forbid a VTuber has a 2D nipple hanging out on Twitch with an 18 plus stream marked, right? It's over with. You know, and that's the problem I have. Like adult characters, by the way, I'm not making a case for Lolly. Like these characters we're looking at on screen are clearly meant to be like late teens, early 20s. These characters are clearly meant to be like adults. You know, there are Lolly VTubers, and I really question the people who follow them. But it's just me. You know, I'm on my own with that, but. That's where you go, though. That's what's going on is.
But here's the thing, though, and this is just in general for me when it comes to fictional characters. You're dealing with fictional characters. They're being played by adults, okay? Short people exist. There are people that there's a person, one of my best friends that's my age. She's short, she's Asian, and she's flat-chested. So there is that. They do exist.
There's a very different distinction.
And she dresses, actually, she does dress. The last time I saw her, which was a while ago, she does wear like Lolita style clothing too. So they do exist. But the thing is, though, we're talking about fictional characters. All right, they're fictional characters. Just you should be able to separate fiction from reality. Stop it! I'm so tired of dealing with these people that can't do that.
Well, it's one thing that it's like, she's 1,000 years old, bro. She looks like a 5-year-old because that's when she was bitten by the Vampire King, bro. She's 1,000 years old, bro. This is the line I'm drawing. Not Usagi-chan wants to hang out, or is that her name?
Usagi-chan, yeah.
Yeah, that's a completely different situation. That is an adult character who is struggling with what your friend is dealing with, being a small person, but she's, of course, has gigantic boobies. But what your friend is dealing with, being of small stature.
You're talking about the VTubers that are like that look really
correct.
Like
Guar bothers me. Guar bothers me. That's a little too young for an adult human female to be talking about her personal life through, or framing it through her personal life through. That's a problem for me. But again, I don't absorb it. I took a
Yeah,
look
that's
at it.
not,
I said, it's not for
it's
me.
your
I'm out.
I'm not going to force my
Right.
opinion on you. I'm just saying that there are people that go way too far and not being able to separate fiction from reality.
Yeah.
And they
Yep.
will say that these people, that fans of are pedos, and that they will actually report them to the FBI, and the FBI, and really what that does is it hurts actual victims, and they
Well,
won't
sure.
help actual like people
It's
like that are getting actual
it's
child
also
actors,
really
for
dumb
example,
to
getting abused by
do.
pedophiles in Hollywood, for example. That's
Right. It's
where
also
my
really dumb to do that. Like, oh yeah, I saw this guy in a chat. I'm going to report him to the FBI.
yeah,
But
like that's what these people. These are the terminally online people really frustrate me. That just can't separate fiction from reality. If you're uncomfortable because they look like a child, that's one thing. But if you're going to call people pedophiles because they enjoy it, enjoy something that's fictional, like just stop. Like stop. It's a drawing. It's a fictional character. Go outside and touch some grass. Seriously.
when it comes to these VTubers, Alpha Proto, they can't recast the actors.
No.
These are meant to be lifestyle YouTubers, but they're anime characters. So they will play games and they will do like ratings charts, and they will sort of have this parasocial relationship with their chat, kind of on purpose, at
What
their own
Redstream
risk.
says is right, though, that half of them turn out to be the thing they keep trying to police against. It's
Yeah.
so true how scary that is. They actually turn out to be pedos themselves. It's pure projection half the time. But anyways, but yeah.
Yeah, that's why they can't recast the actor, though, is because of the situation with these being basically meant to be lifestyle characters. Like you're watching PewDiePie hang out with his child. This VTuber thing is supposed to be the same effect, that you're hanging out with this anime person because you get along with an anime person better than you do a real life dude. You know, everybody's got their thing.
But I will say this, though, as I was saying earlier, as sketchy as it is, I kind of I think it's great for them that Sony is giving them the rights to their character, considering the circumstance. It could be worse that like Sony's just shutting down like all of a sudden and just says screwed them all over, and they don't get the rights to their character at all.
Well, that's what Niji Sanji does. They force the character to graduate, and then, like I said, they lock everything down. So
yeah, so this is more beneficial for them. It's kind of suspicious on what's going on with Sony, but at least the VTuber themselves are not getting screwed. So I think it's a win for them.
Well, and we got SANDLAND news.
Yeah, this is a win for especially SANDLAND fans, but Toriyama fans too. So SANDLAND, the TV series, there is a little bit of a mix-up in terms of where it's going to be streaming. Worldwide, outside of the US, it will be on Disney Plus. But in the US, just like with every anime that is available on Disney Plus, it's going to be on Hulu, because Disney is just weird and just will not put anime on Disney Plus yet. I don't know why. In the US anyway. But so what's going on with SANDLAND is the first 7 episodes that are coming out on March 20th, or episodes 1 through 6 coming out on March 20th, is it's going to be a retelling of the SANDLAND movie, and there's going to be additional scenes and even new and deleted scenes from the movie, and then the rest of the episodes that are going to come out weekly on Wednesdays starting March 28th is going to be an all-new arc called the Angel Hero arc. And what Toriyama was saying in the comments was that they did receive like a synopsis of what the arc is going to what they want to do with the arc, and they built off of it from there. So let me pull this up on my end. So we do have new characters. One of them, Anne, is in the Sandland video game. She is the mechanic, so you'll be able to work with her in building different vehicles. And I think it said on the Bandai Namco website or Famitsu that you'll be able to use her to make weapons as well. But I know for sure you'll be able to make vehicles with her. But yeah, it's going to be taking place in Forestland, which is an all new world, obviously different from the desert world that's going to be in. And then there's Muriel, the angel, titular angel hero, who believes he is a divine, or no, he's from the heavenly realm and believes he is a hero. So that's really what we know so far about the arc that's in place. But it's just really interesting on how Toriyama got involved in this project, where it all started. I think it was in December, or no, not this past December. It started back in like 2022. Yeah, 2022. The Sandland project was originally the movie and the video game. The movie came out, obviously, August 31st, 2023 in Japan. Hasn't been released here in the States. I don't know when it's going to come out here in the States. And then it just expanded into the video game and then, obviously, the series. And the thing that's interesting about this in particular is, one, Toei's not involved. This is, I think, the first Toriyama project that Toei is not involved in. And the other thing Toriyama said that's very interesting about Sandland is that it's a contrast to Dragon Ball. Whereas Dragon Ball Z is his more flashy series. That's how you describe it, was flashy. His short stories are more like down to earth and more uneventful and just peaceful, like slice of life stories. So this is going to be very interesting to see how people will react to it.
Well, you know, a lot of people, like for me, for instance, I'm not someone who followed Sandland throughout all of its incarnations and whatnot. I only remember it from Shonen Jump. So this is actually a pretty interesting concept to me, to see the Sandland characters taken out of the Sandland setting that I remember them in, moving into a new world with all new cast that I'm not familiar with. One of the things that kept me from running with it is I just, you know, the desert part kind of gets to me. I know Akira Toriyama is fascinated with desert plains lands. If you just take a look at any old episode of Dragon Ball Z, it looks like a desert plains land that they're in.
It does.
But
old school Dragon Ball doesn't have it as much. The original Dragon Ball, you don't have as much desert. There's maybe in like the first arc or so, but it's not as much desert in original Dragon Ball as there is in like Dragon Ball Z.
Right, and so this is where we're at with this. The seeing them in a forest realm is kind of fun. I like it. I think it's fun. So
I like that Toriyama is starting to get more involved, because from what Geekdom 101 was saying is that Toriyama is getting involved in Dragon Quest again. And now he's getting, obviously he's working with, being more involved with Toyotaro in Dragon Ball Super. And Dragon Ball Super manga is getting really good, because we recently had Beast Gohan spar with Ultra Instinct Goku. And now we're getting this with Sandland. So it's just interesting to see. And I think he said this is like the first time since 2013 for Dragon Quest, especially, that that Toriyama has been this active.
right. Well, this feeds into just a little sidebar that I wanted to bring up, guy. I ran across this. It's from December, so it's not breaking news. This is an opinion piece from Hollywood Reporter. It says, why Japan is on the precipice of a content boom. And basically what the takeaway of this article is that, excuse me, just had a fuzzy fly into my mouth. Ew. Anyway, Japan's on this content boom. See, K-pop has been controlling things for a while now. And what really has been driving this curiosity in Japan has been the rapid takeover of manga in the youth market. A lot of adults are getting exposed to this stuff through their kids. and they're finding a fascination with it because it's different from almost anything that we're shown here in the U.S. anyway. And because we're a giant market, Japan is once again going through this the miracle again. But this time, rather than through the corporate manufacturing sectors, it's through the entertainment sector. And so there's a fella in here, his last name is Kim. And what he explains is Japan right now is almost the opposite of Korea. There's never been more global curiosity and love for Japanese culture. And with that interest, there is so much potential for Japan's entertainment industry to regain momentum. And he goes on to explain that there are other players outside of Japan that are also smelling the opportunity, and they're all trying to get into Japan. As long as it's done in a way that does not cause too much of a bubble, I think it will actually be a very healthy stimulus that energizes the whole Japanese industry. And this is really exciting to me personally because I felt so terrible for the forgotten generation in Japan. This is our age group, Nerdigans, the people that graduated around like 2005 to 2010 that just had like their future robbed from them when the U.S. housing market like died, you know? And so this for them in Japan, like this huge stop to what they were doing happened, where their lives happened. And so with this new opportunity, so many more people can get into jobs that won't require them to retrain, that they can go to work as actors, they can go to work as editors, as producers, as different types of players in the entertainment sector and have a different chance in life. And I'm really kind of excited about this for them.
Well, the manga and anime industry is a different beast. It's not as glamorous as people are trying to make it out to be, unfortunately.
No.
It's not, especially with the Chinese infiltrating the anime industry to boot. But the thing with the anime industry that's really interesting right now, I don't know if you've seen this on social media in particular, you have, with One Piece specifically, you have animators from around the world participating in episodes of One Piece, which I think is great. There's been more opportunities from international animators coming in, and don't get me wrong, work conditions are improving in Japan for animators and for mangaka too, but it's completely different. You're not going to make as much money working in anime, and also you got the new tax system to boot. That's really screwing everybody up.
And you have to give out your real name and identity and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's very dangerous right now in that regard. Where it's really starting to boom, though, in terms of anime and manga, I talked about this before. The second biggest market right now is France. And I know, actually, there's a fan manga from France, Dragon Ball fan manga, that's really good. And I've been covering it since chapter, I want to say 3 or 4, is Dragon Ball Kakume. Dragon Ball Kakume is one of the best fan mangas I've ever read. And these it's 3 French artists, and they put out their own manga volumes. They're working on making their own anime adaptation of their own manga. They're really working it right now. And I think there's been 2 French manga published in Japan. I know Radiant got an anime adaptation. That's a French series. And there's another one too. I just can't remember off the top of my head that got published in Japan as well. But yeah, France, it's definitely getting bigger right now. But then there's, speaking of Hollywood mining for Japanese content right now, there's the Naruto movie. Yeah, I do not believe what Kishimoto said for a second about the Shang-Chi director being the one that could adapt it. No, not when you have the Kingdom director that exists, and he has adapted. He works directly with the mangaka. So for Kingdom, Hara, the mangaka, co-wrote the script with the writer of the One Piece anime movie. So One Piece Film Red, Stampede, et cetera, et cetera. Same with the mangaka for Golden Kamuy. He co-wrote the script with I think it was the same scriptwriter too, and that's how it works for Golden Kamuy. Bleach, he directed Bleach as well. I don't think Kubo co-wrote the script on that one though. But yeah, this director is great. But Kishimoto is saying that the Shang-Chi director is the best one to do it to adapt Naruto. That is a load of crap. Anyone who has watched Kingdom knows that is a load of crap. Seriously, heck, you can say the Rurouni Kenshin director is better than this.
This is just it. Is that Hollywood most likely doesn't want to work with a foreign director, so they'll hire
They
somebody.
are, though. They're working with him for Boku no Hero Academia. He's directing that.
So far. But this is the thing: is that they want to attach people that American audiences apparently can trust or something. I'm not really sure. Either that or they got blackmail on, most likely. That's probably the other reason.
But then why is he directing Boku no Hero Academia's live action then, if they don't want to work with him? That's the thing that gets me.
Because they want to exploit him. See, this is what they did with the Cowboy Bebop guy. They gave him all sorts of like, yeah, you're totally part of this press stuff. But in reality, he was just in a box. They sent him the script and he said, I don't like this. They said, well, that's nice. And they went back and did it anyway. And that's what they were doing. I guarantee you that's what they're doing with this guy. They're taking his ideas and what they like, they keep, and what they don't, they tell him that's nice. And they go and do it anyway. And
yeah, the director's name, by the way, is Shinsuke Sato. That's the director's name. He directed Gantz, he directed Kingdom, he directed Bleach, he directed Inuyashiki's live action, Kingdom. He's been around the block, and he's the one that's working on Boku no Hero Academia. And that's why I'm like, when people are freaking out about Boku no Hero Academia, I'm like, dude, you got one of the best directors who knows how to adapt manga into live action working on Boku no Hero Academia. If anyone could do it, it would be him, especially if he could somehow get Horikoshi to co-write the script. It would be a miracle if that could happen.
So this is what it is. The other thing is that what the reason why that could be is that they have this guy doing that with My Hero Academia because they're making the mistake of assuming that's the bigger property when it comes to theaters, completely underestimating that Naruto now bridges 3 generations.
Oh, it does. Naruto's been around in the U.S. since 2006.
Correct. And it's on a revival. I have a family friend that has a son, and he's 10 years old, and he just had his birthday last year, and it was a Naruto-themed birthday. Not Boruto, not adult Naruto. We're talking little orange jumpsuit, 14-year-old nasty, naughty Naruto as the birthday thing. All the way, Akira, what?
No way. No, that has to be a troll post. No freaking way.
Who? I don't see anything in the news on it. Is it on Twitter? Alpha, are you messing with us? What?
I'm seeing it on Twitter. On English. What? On the official Dragon Ball Twitter.
Did you have it? Can you share it?
Hold on. This is what?
Well, I mean, he's kind of old. He's like 70, isn't he? He's like over 70.
He's 68. What?
Yeah, so
the hell? What?
That's something.
What?
Official. Hold on, I'll bring it up here.
Hold on, here's the official from the Dragon Ball site. Hold on.
Nope.
Here's the official one. Oh my god, this isn't a joke. Oh my god, what?
He's son of a wow.
What?
That's real. That's real.
Oh my god, no way.
Wow. That's
what? Oh my god, I can't believe this. Oh my god, I double checked. I double checked Geekdom 101 to make sure as well. Oh my god, I can't believe this is real. Oh my God, I can't believe this literally just happened.
Uh,
Oh my God, what the hell?
yeah, that's something. But okay. So that's probably something we should probably get on reporting. Maybe instead of streaming about it, we get on reporting about it.
Oh God.
Uh,
Man, we probably should at least read the statement.
yeah, I'm sorry. Just beside myself.
I'll read the statement though, so you could just take a deep breath. So this is what the statement says. Dear friends and partners, we are deeply saddened to inform you that manga creator Akira Toriyama passed away on March 1st. Oh my God, due to acute subdural hematoma. He was 68 years old. So it was acute subdural hematoma. Oh my gosh. It's our deep regret that he still had several works in the middle of creation with great enthusiasm. Also, he would have many more things to achieve. However, he has left many manga titles and works of art to this world. Oh my God. Okay, so Toyotaro's got to be taking over some of this. Thanks to the support of so many people around the world, he has been able to continue his creative activities for over 45 years. We hope that Akira Toriyama's unique world of creation continues to be loved by everyone for a long time to come. We inform you the sad news with gratefulness for your kindness during his lifetime. Funeral services was held with his family and very few relatives. Following his wishes for tranquility, we respectfully inform you that we would not accept flowers, condolences, gifts, visiting offerings, and others. Also, we ask you to refrain from conducting interviews with his family. Future plans for commemorating gathering is not decided. We will let you know when it's confirmed. And we deeply thank you for your understanding and support as always. So basically, what I think is going to happen after everything is settled down, you have to. There's a reason why Shueisha established the Dragon Ball room. They have people in place to take care of this. Toyotaro is probably obviously Toyotaro is taking over. He's been taking over Dragon Ball Super. Nothing's gonna pretty much change there. He will be continuing on the Dragon Ball Super manga story, no problem. Super Dragon Ball Heroes, that is being taken care of as well. Let me pull up the mangaka's name because I cover Super Dragon Ball Heroes.
Okay.
Let's see, where are you? That is Yoshitaka. Yoshitaka is the one that writes Super Dragon Ball Heroes. That one will be taken care of by Yoshitaka. That isn't changing. Now, the other manga projects that were supposed to be done, I think it'll depend on the situation in terms of the manga projects, like at which stage they were. Because what this could end up being is kind of like a Miura situation. This could be a Berserk situation, where where the storyboards, or there's like in terms of that, where there's like outlines, and it's up to probably Toyotaro is my best guess, because Toyotaro is essentially Toriyama's successor. He will be the one to execute it, but I don't know if that's what Shueisha is going to want Toyotaro to do right now. I don't think Toyotaro is going to be able to do anything right now besides Dragon Ball Super. I don't see it. In terms of what I'm worried about, though, unless everything was put in place beforehand, kind of like with what Oda has for One Piece, I'm worried that they're going to try and pull a Steven Hillenberg, or what happened with Steven Hillenberg. I really hope that I'm wrong on that. But I'm really hoping this is going to be more of an Oda situation where everything is set in place for when, for when Oda's gone. So that way they can just keep going, and the Dragon Ball room is going to do its thing in the right way. And Toyotaro is just going to straight up take over what needs to be done manga wise. But
yeah. Well, hopefully they.
Yeah, I know it was spooky. We were talking about his projects too. I know.
Yeah.
But I'm probably it's either going to be me or Spencer that's writing the Bounding into Comics article. But well, I'm very curious. I know you're shooketh. Maybe I'm not as shooketh as much because I've been through so many deaths. And like, I know I shouldn't be laughing, but I've been through so many like serious deaths in like 5 years that it just really doesn't hit as much. It doesn't affect me as much as it would have, like, say, 5 years ago. So, but
Sure.
yeah, but Miura's death had me crying. I'm not gonna lie. But Toriyama's death, I don't know. It's just not hitting me as hard as I thought it was going to. I'm shocked, yeah, but I feel like with Toriyama's death, because of everything that's been in place already, I don't feel as bad. I know it's weird. But yeah, I know. We were all starting to get used to well, here's the thing with Toriyama being Toriyama wasn't as hands-on as people think. The last time Toriyama was really hands-on with his projects, and Geekdom 101 was saying this, was in 2013 when he did Jocko and Dragon Ball Minus. Like, this was the time where he was then he was hands-on with Dragon Ball, what was it? Battle of the Gods and Resurrection of F and Broly. He was a little bit more hands-on with those. Dragon Ball Superhero, from what I saw in interviews, especially in comparison to like Oda with One Piece film Red, he was somewhat hands-on, but not as much as like, say, Oda, if that makes sense. But this just blows my mind. And speaking of Miura, I think Miura died of I don't think it was the same exact thing, disease or cause of death, but it was a heart-related cause of death for Miura as well. Kind of interesting. But yeah, Toriyama wasn't as hands-on in later years as like, say, like with Dragon Ball. Like he like used to draw everything himself. Like back in the day, like with Dragon Quest, he drew all the characters for Dragon Quest, all the designs for Dragon Quest, all the stuff, Sandland, for the new designs for Sandland. He drew all that himself. But and like, say, like Dragon Ball GT, he drew like the designs for Trunks, Goku, and Pan. He didn't draw Super Saiyan 4. He didn't draw oh my god, what was the other thing I was thinking of? For Dragon Ball Super, he didn't it was mostly Toriyama that was just going off the storyboards. Toriyama never drew any of the stuff for Dragon Ball Super. That was all Toyotaro. He did the writing. But
right. Some of it even. Toyotaro even influenced a lot of the writing too. Like here, Toriyama had a loose outline of what they were doing, and Toyotaro even handled like the introduction of Ultra Instinct. It wasn't his idea alone, but he chose like how it was supposed to be expressed, I guess. So
that's why I said, like, in terms of Toriyama's projects going forward, if they're going to keep doing his projects, that this might be like a Miura. Well, it will be a little bit better than a Miura incident because Miura didn't. I don't think he had any of his any outlines, or if he did, he barely had any outlines left. But if there are outlines left for his projects, for the unfinished projects, then Toyotaro will probably just finish them. It'll take I could see that happening where Toyotaro will be the one to take over them in terms of manga. Toyotaro will probably be the one to do them. I could see, and it would probably, if in my best guess, it would probably be post Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah,
that would be my best guess. But yeah, there's also Chrono Trigger. I think I forgot about that. That's a good question. If Chrono Trigger was getting a revival, would Toriyama be working? Toriyama would have had to be working with it because he did work with all the other Dragon Quests.
Well, it
revival.
depends on to what level, though. Really,
I'm talking about like in terms of character designs, because that's what he mainly did was the character designs for like Dragon Quest. And I think he wrote. Did he write the story for the original Dragon Quest?
either that or he heavily influenced it. If he didn't write it,
I know he did. Obviously, he did the manga for Dragon Quest, but I don't remember if he wrote the story for, or like as you said, influenced the original Dragon Quest. I can't remember. But this is wild. He died on March. What's even crazier is the news for Sandland and the comments for Sandland came out on March 6th or March 5th? Or no, it came out like on March 4th. That's what the craziest thing about this whole thing is.
well, again, like that's the Japanese corporate media for you. That just tells you that they're not going to be stopping these anytime soon. That none of these projects are going anywhere. That everything's moving forward, full speed ahead, regardless of Akira's status of life.
I don't know if is it really worth keeping Sandland going at this point?
Well, probably. They probably outlined 3 or 4 series ahead, like seasons ahead on it. So it probably has 3 seasons to it. And arguably, Akira Toriyama isn't a guy that probably sat down. He's like, okay, we're only going to do 1 episode. You get back to me in a week. We'll do another one. So
I think Sandland is done. Sandland, I think, is done after this. And
right.
I almost forgot to mention with Sandland, he wrote the titles for every episode.
Well, and again, like he's that's at least taken care of. So I don't think this is going to affect any of these releases coming forward or anything like that. It's just
I'm curious if Dragon Ball Super is going to even come out this month.
probably it's probably all drawn and ready to go. That's the thing is that they don't usually just go week for week on these.
No,
They usually have 3 or 4 of them ahead.
Release. No, this is a monthly release, but I wonder if because of this, if they are gonna if V-Jump is gonna even release the chapter.
Well, they'll probably have a tribute come out instead.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. We'll see what happens with V-Jump. I guess V-Jump's got to put something out. This is just insane. I can't believe this is literally happening. Oh my God.
Apparently it's a type of brain bleed that happened to him. So
yeah,
it's not completely unheard of for people who have somewhat sedentary life to deal with that.
Well, yeah. I mean, my mom worked in neuro ICU.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot it would be head and not heart. Oh my God. I'm tired.
It's okay.
But yeah, my mom worked in neuro ICU for like 30 years. At UCSF. So yeah, brain bleeds, you never know when they're going to happen. You don't know if there was a clot. We don't know how this bleed happened. We don't know.
Yeah, 68's pretty early, but again, like he had a very sedentary life, you know? So
yeah, it's really just oof. I'm trying to see if there's any more info here that we can get.
Probably not. If they kept it a secret until now and nobody knew until now, there is no info out there.
I still can't believe, like, this is just, I know this does happen. I mean, where they will release like an author's death or something like that, like for a few days, but something like this where they release like author comments like this for especially something like Sandland.
Mm-hmm.
That's just insane.
It's creepy.
That's unheard of.
Creepy. It's pretty creepy,
really
but that just really demonstrates that they're going to go ahead with all of this and not be at all bothered by it. You know, there's also a term in Japan called ganbaru, and ganbaru is endure, go on, endure the pain, deal with the suffering, force the tears back and get the job done. And that's what they've been doing, I guess, since the first, is just sucking it up until this official release when they could let it go.
Someone be quiet. Sorry, my cat is just being very fussy.
Mm.
Oh my God, Kitty. Like, you can't do this right now. It's going to be the next few weeks are going to be, or the next couple of weeks will be very interesting. Anime Japan is going to be even more interesting now.
Yeah, it's going to be a funeral is what it's going to be.
Oh yeah, it's going to be definitely a funeral at Anime Japan because a lot of series that are being shown over there, like for example, Four Nights of the Apocalypse is very much influenced, which by the way is the sequel to Nanatsu no Taizai, is very, you could tell it's very much influenced by old school Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Because of the simple adventure as it starts out, just finding the Percival trying to find the rest of the knights of the apocalypse. It's just like that simple adventure of looking for the Dragon Balls kind of thing. And of course, Percival is short, and he is for a 16-year-old, kind of like Goku. So it's just, oh god, this is just wild. I can't believe this is real. Oh my god, this is just insane.
Well, well, of course. I mean, it's quite random. There's no like years battle with cancer or anything like that to kind of base this on.
Well, it was the same thing with Miura as well. Well, allegedly. Yep. Allegedly, there was.
It goes to show you just how powerful the Japanese corporate media is, that they're able to control something like this and say like, nobody mention anything about it for the next 6 days. I can't imagine.
It's the same thing with Miura. Same thing.
It must have been hell just going to work every day, like putting out these SANDLAND things, putting out the Dragon Ball Daima trailer. It must have been absolute hell on every last person, because Akira Toriyama, he's not like Horikoshi. He's not like Horikoshi just showed up like 10 years ago and took the world by storm. Akira Toriyama has been a name in Japan households for over 30 years. He's 4 generations deep in inspiring people to work out at the gym until they can't reach their own cheeks.
Like, this is probably this is the worst death that's hit Japan, I think, since Miura's death.
It hit the world. Think about how South America is going to react to this. Like, Dragon Ball is an institution with them.
There's going to be funerals everywhere in South America. It's going to be so horrible. Remember when Miura died, there was like funerals in different fantasy games, like Final Fantasy 14 and stuff like that. I gotta wonder if they're going to do something like that in Xenoverse too. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that. Oh yeah, and then there's Takahashi's death, and the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yep,
that death was sudden too. But it didn't. The difference between like Takahashi and like Toriyama and Miura is, especially in the case of Miura was the apprentice of Morikawa, the mangaka of Hajime no Ippo, who is huge. He's a legend in Japan. And when the news of Miura's death came out, Morikawa was like beside himself. He was practically crying on Twitter. He was so devastated. Like, that's how much obviously that death hit him. Toriyama's death is probably that level, but it's probably even worse of a blow than Miura's death. Like, when Morikawa dies or Oda dies, it's probably going to be worse. Or I think would Toriyama's death be as Morikawa or I know this is bad of me to think this, but I have to wonder if Morikawa or Oda's death is going to be as impactful as Toriyama.
Well, like you said, it might be a little early to wonder.
Yeah, I know it's early and it's kind of messed up.
This is right here, right now, and this is global.
But Toriyama influenced everything. Toriyama influenced not just anime and manga, but cartoons as well. There's a lot of Dragon Ball parodies in Western cartoons.
Yep.
But yeah,
it's an institution. Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of Super Saiyan parodies because of Toriyama.
Well, I mean, the whole the energy field around the characters in Jujutsu Kaisen are hard. Yeah, the auras are hard not to identify as like Super Saiyan auras and stuff like that. And Toriyama had such a unique idea of power and what it looked like, and that's
Toriyama was just so
different.
creative. And what I really hope that something that does come out of this is I hope that this gets people to read all of Toriyama's works, including like Dr. Slump or our original Dragon Ball, because you get to see, as you know, Toriyama said in his comments that Dragon Ball Z was more of his flashy series, where you know he also and Oda has mentioned this too with Gear 5 and One Piece, that he was influenced by Toriyama's the gag series that he did back in the day with Dr. Slump and original Dragon Ball for Gear 5. And if you didn't have the gag comedy from Dr. Slump and original Dragon Ball, you wouldn't have a lot of the comedy you see in anime today either. It's something that's I really hope that people take to heart. But a lot of people refuse to watch original Dragon Ball, or hell, I don't think a lot of people, and it's sad that people don't know about Dr. Slump outside the crossover, but those Dr. Slump is such a fun series. It is. It's so stupid. It really and it's so out of the box. It's so much fun. But yeah, you get to see Toriyama's crazy side.
Right.
But yeah, and as Alpha Proto said, you could see Toriyama's influence all over Naruto. You can see it all over One Piece. And JoJo. Well, yeah, JoJo as well. But yeah, Toriyama is like one of the founders of modern shonen, whether it be battle or gag even. You wouldn't have a lot of these series without him. If you think about it, but
yep. Oh well.
I think a lot of the mangaka are starting to come out, and the anime animators are going to start pouring in their dedications soon. Oh God, I know it's going to be hurting a lot of them right now. They're probably shook too. I'm trying to remember with Miura how long it was. I think with Miura as well. I think it was like a week or less than. Yeah, it was less than a week after Miura's death. They reported it too. Now that I think about it. So yeah, it's not unusual for this to happen, but God, after the comments though, that was just in really poor taste. That was in poor taste from the Japanese media, or I should say from the SANDLAND PR team. That was really in poor taste.
They may not have had a choice. In order to keep a secret, they had to, move forward with what worked rather than what was honorable. Corporate does that sometimes.
Do you think it was the Dragon Ball room that decided this? Because this probably came from the Dragon Ball room.
No, I think it came all the way from the top. No, it probably came from all the way at the tippity top. Way up at the top, they were like, no, we can't risk this, because you start talking that Toriyama's out of it and people will lose their faith. So the other thing is the family could have said, we don't want a public announcement until we've had time to properly handle this whole situation. They probably had a funeral by now. So everything's taken care of.
Said too.
Yeah. And so everything's all taken care of. And so they won't have thousands of people showing up to the grave site and things like that all at once. So, that's probably why this was done this way, and not anybody's like hubris or greed or, probably wasn't even corporate. It probably was the family that said, hey, we need some time because it's going to be like this massive pilgrimage to his gravesite. So.
Well, there's going to as you said earlier, there's going to be massive pilgrimages and funerals in South America. But I agree with this. This will probably give Westerners to give Daima a chance. And as I said, this will probably hopefully get Westerners to give Dr. Slump and the original Dragon Ball a chance too.
Yep.
I'm hoping that's going to be the case. I hope Japan takes advantage. That's one thing. I really hope Japan does take advantage of it, and something that Japan has been doing a lot of lately. And I'm really annoyed that the West doesn't do it, is they've been putting a lot of their shows up on YouTube for free. And I wonder if that's going, if Toei Museum specifically is going to do that, if they're going to put all of Dr. Slump and the original Dragon Ball in Toei Museum.
Well, you probably will see at least the Dragon Ball Z movies go up there.
That's true.
For a while.
Well,
but
Toriyama didn't really work on the Dragon Ball Z movies, though.
See, that's the difference. That's the thing, is that it's not about that. It's about what's easy to license. Licensing a whole series is pretty expensive, but licensing 8 movies, not so expensive. A little different.
Toei should do the right thing. Well, Toei US, they won't do the right thing, because otherwise, if they did, they would probably be
out of business.
No, if they did the right thing in the US, they would be showing the Digimon movie in theaters for the 25th anniversary. That would be Toei being smart. But no, we can't have Toei America
have nice
smart.
Things.
But in Japan's showing it, but the original Digimon movie. But like Toei in Japan, if they were smart, they would have Dr. Slump and Dragon Ball up on YouTube. Or that would actually just be more respectful than anything else.
Yep.
But we'll see what they do over the next 48 hours or so. This is just insane. I can't believe this happened.
Well, again, you'll probably see more of it play out on Monday. This is we're headed into the weekend now. Friday's going to be in a couple of hours. It's already Friday in Japan. That's probably why this announcement's out then, so that way the news media couldn't have a week to play with it. You've only got the weekend now before people are going to move on with their lives, that kind of thing. So
not in Latin America. No, they are not going to move on.
Well, you know what I mean. The media won't be able to cash in.
Well, South American media is not going to move on. Nah, there's going to be funerals down there, and there's going to probably be worldwide coverage. That's something I might actually look up. Is if I see any live streams for Dragon Ball funerals, I will probably post them on social media. I'll post them on Twitter if I see any.
Yeah.
Because they will probably be live streaming. But yes. Oh, that's another thing. Sailor Moon's, I think it's like the 20th anniversary or 25th anniversary? Something. But yeah, Sailor Moon's hitting a major anniversary too. But yeah, Toei is very stingy. And well, I should word it this way. Viz is very a pain in the ass because they would rather license Kagurabachi than Kingdom.
30 years.
Or 30. Oh my God, I feel so old. I feel old, God damn it. Viz would rather license Kagurabachi than Kingdom, or give a physical release to Witch Watch or Ruri Dragon, which people would really like. I think it's stupid that they're doing that. I know the Baki Bros are happy because they turned a meme into like a physical release. I'm very annoyed. I'm really annoyed by this. I am so annoyed by this. You have no idea. But like Kingdom fans have been, I know I keep spreading the gospel of Kingdom constantly, but Kingdom fans have been waiting and have been pestering Viz for I don't know how long now to just license Kingdom and release Kingdom. And now that Kodansha has licensed Kingdom, or licensed Hajime no Ippo, which has like 1,400 chapters now. Yeah, it's like 1,450 chapters. Yeah, 1,450 chapters. I think it's getting at least a digital release. I think it might be getting a physical release too. But there's no excuse if it's a digital release or whatever. There's no excuse, Viz. Detective Conan's release is unreadable, but there's no excuse when Hajime no Ippo is getting licensed by Kodansha for you to not have Kingdom. None, especially since Japan is releasing omnibuses for Kingdom. I don't know why Viz does not want money. I don't know why. But I don't even know if Baki Bros are going to pay the money. If they do, then there you go. You'll get money, Viz. But you don't want the Kingdom fans' money. I don't understand why. But I put in my submission with Shueisha to at least try and get simulpubs. So hopefully I'll get those. Because I would rather have simulpubs than to pirate Kingdom. It would be nice to have them, especially if they're accurate. But I know a lot of Kingdom fans feel this way, but anyways, but what do you think about this, Cider? How a meme turned into this? This is like the fastest turnaround time for a manga to get an English release since, I think someone said, since Barrage, which was like 5 or almost a decade ago now, I think.
I think that's why. It's new, it's fresh, the appeal to it is right there, and it's hot, and Viz is hungry. They have a open submission globally right now on their website that you could submit for digital, you could submit for a one-shot, you could submit for an ongoing series. And I suspect that's what won the day here, was that this was something new. It hadn't cycled around very much, and so they had all the control they could muster with it. The corporate had as much control as they could get out of this. Whereas Kingdom has like a lot of fans, there's a lot of art out there about it, there's a lot of articles, there's a lot of conversation. This, though popular, does not have that long of a timeline with doing that. So Viz would control the conversation around this property, and I suspect that's why they moved on it.
Do you think this is going to be, even if this one gets the chop, because in Japan, compared to say like the Elusive Samurai, for example, the Elusive Samurai, when its first volume dropped, it sold, I want to say like 40,000 within the same time frame as Kagurabachi. And I know the Baki Bros will bring up reprints, but even with reprints now, it's still under like 30,000. If it gets the axe, do you think Viz is going to regret it?
No, because he'll be able to bundle it. That's the thing. In America, we'll buy bundles of manga because it's a novelty over here now. It's become like you can actually get manga slab now. You can get manga slab sealed in a box, manga, really. I'm not kidding you. And graded and slab now. You can put it up on your wall. It's crazy.
That's the thing, though, and I've seen that too. The thing is with that, and I've tried to explain this to people. I understand if you want to do that for like first edition Japanese releases. Yeah, you would probably want to get those graded because those are going to be worth something, especially if like you get like a first edition volume 1 One Piece in Japanese. That is worth something. You might want to get it graded so that and have it sealed because it will be worth. It's worth something. But like if you're talking about like an English release, English releases aren't going to be worth shit. A Japanese
that's just it.
It's going to be worth something.
That's just it. So let's say this fails. Let's say that this fails, like you said. Then it becomes a collectible because they put all their donuts on this, and it's going to be a piece of history, regardless if it's good or bad, if it's well received or not. It's a piece of history now,
and that's why it won't be worth it. Though it'd be the Japanese edition that'd be worth it.
You'd think that, but there are people in the U.S. that want to own it in English. Is the thing. And that'll be the attraction, is that it fails in English and people worldwide will want to own it because it failed in English, that kind of thing.
No, but I'm saying it's probably not going to fail in English. I'm saying it's going to fail in Japan and get the axe. And because it fails in Japan, then I could see the Baki Bros wanting that being a collectible. But in English, it's not going to be worth that much because they already got it in English. They would want it in Japanese, and they would want it to get have it graded. That to me would make more sense.
You could have a really interesting situation where the Japanese market fails this, but the American and the English-speaking market keeps it alive. So that way, it's being produced in Japan, but immediately exported to the English-speaking market rather than going to Japan where it doesn't sell well. That's a very interesting concept to suddenly be presented with.
Well, the thing is though, is that the English-speaking market isn't as big as, say, the French-speaking market or the Spanish-speaking market. I would say it is like
half.
I think I would say it's like in fourth after outside of Japan at least. Because you got France, you got Germany, you got and you got, of course, like the Spanish speaking market, because that's why like basically all of them have more manga licenses than the US does. But for one thing, but if the US, if this was like in say like 2005 when the US manga market was booming. I'd be like, okay, I can agree with you on that. But we're not in 2005 anymore when Western manga publishers were licensing things left and right. Nah, we're not doing that no more. So if this was in France, I'd be agreeing with you. France is licensing things like within a couple months, I would say. Sometimes like within sometimes within a month after Japan's release, I believe. I've seen that happen. Yeah, France is doing it faster turnarounds than the US has in terms of licensing and releases. So that's why I'm like, I don't see that happening here. I don't, as much as they want to meme it and all that. If it was France, yes. If it was in 2005, yeah, I could see that. But, or hell, if this was in Latin America, maybe. But I just don't see it. They can complain and all that all they want. But I just don't see it. And I know people are saying, because I cover KAGURABACHI too. They are saying, oh, KAGURABACHI is like the next Demon Slayer. Nah, it's not the next Demon Slayer. The Elusive Samurai already took up that mantle, and it's better than Demon Slayer. If you're not reading it, why? It's Matsui, the mangaka of Assassination Classroom, is the mangaka that works on the Elusive Samurai, and it is amazing. It is better than what KAGURABACHI wishes it could be. It is beautiful. And it's a good story. It's a really good revenge story too. But KAGURABACHI, and I'm glad other manga readers have noticed it too. It's very mediocre, and people have called it the Morbius of manga. It really is. It is the Morbius of manga. It's somewhat doing okay in Japan, but I wouldn't say it. I mean, Yashimon had to get reprints. Yashimon got reprints, but it's still got the axe. I mean, there's still a good chance it's going to get axed, but I mean, we'll see what happens with it. It's not like Kingdom, where Kingdom is selling like hotcakes in Japan and around the world. I mean, it hit 100 million copies not too long ago. But it's been around for a long time now too. I mean, I've been covering that one since 2016, and that was when it was like under 500 chapters, and now it's almost at 800. So Kingdom is so good though. Like it's just, I'm just saddened that Kingdom is not getting I'm just saddened that there's publishers that don't want to make. Maybe I should be sad that publishers don't want to make money. They just don't appreciate the greatness that is Kingdom. Maybe it's for the better, because then they won't botch it, I guess.
Exactly. I was about to say they could lovely complex it, you know?
Yeah, they could, especially since Kingdom takes place in China. Yeah, it takes place during the Warring States period. But but it's crazy to see how a meme became something. But unfortunately, the manga did not live up to the hype. People will say it, the Baki Bros will say it all they want, but it did not live up to the hype, at least in my opinion.
We'll have to wait and find out what happens as time goes on, especially now with the big shakeup happening like this. So, yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see how much of the West will have an influence on Japanese manga. I just think it's weird that people think the US will have an influence when Hosono straight up said, he's like, when we say overseas, we do not mean the US. We're talking about just in general. We've got France, we got Latin America, we got Europe, just Europe in general. I mean, there's more than just like a lot of these people that say that we're having an influence. It's like, overseas is not just you guys. No. You got to look at the bigger picture here, especially since it's not 2005 anymore. But it's real. And we talked about it last week. It's crazy how far things have fallen in terms of the U.S. With marketing. When you look at France, and France is going all out with their marketing. Latin America, you know, what we talked about with how they're going to be doing, like probably doing major funerals for Akira Toriyama everywhere. Latin America has been like, goes all out with their marketing for anime and manga. But the US, nothing. You don't get anything anymore. It's it's insane when there's this market just sitting right there. It's like, I don't understand why these people do not want to make money. And I'm especially looking at you, Sony, with the VTuber stuff now, to add to this.
I really think it has more to do with the fact that the politics are just so extreme right now that it is impossible to try and bring in certain properties that have anything that feels a little bit out of alignment with the Twitterites, you know, that demand that they have their Tumblritises acknowledged. And I think that's really what drives like things that are more complex, like Kingdom, from coming here. Whereas like the meme manga gets to come here because it's really simple, really easy, no offensive politics, that kind of thing. It's why I think they don't bring Kamen Rider over.
No, the Elusive Samurai has a fight about against an actual lolicon. And this lolicon, this prize lolicon, straight up says what the difference between, like, you know, a lolicon and a pedo is. He straight up says, nah, I'm not into real women. I have my lolly, my waifu, who, you know, gives me strength and makes me stronger and gives me the courage to fight. And the fact that this manga, that Viz licenses this, is just insane to me. If we're gonna be, especially if we're going by the political logic, the fact that they are allowing a manga that has a pedo, like a questionable pedo, in regards to Yorishige. Yorishige did some really, well, he's more of a pervert than a pedo. I'm sorry, let me reword that. He is a straight up pervert. Yorishige is, and does a lot of questionable shit. And then you have the lolicon, straight up proud lolicon, like a Shido up in there, and this licenses it. And then you have, and then, you know, we're talking about politics, and that's why Kingdom's not here. I'm like, wait, you're fine with that, though?
Of course.
But I think the mentality of, there's this mentality of, oh, anime and manga are for kids. There's that mentality going on still, too. I think that's a bigger issue in terms of the marketing. But,
well, arguably the U.S. has never been too keen on adults absorbing entertainment after the age of paying taxes independently. So that's kind of our culture in general. But if you can get kids into it, the parents will pick it up. And that's the thing. And also you're dealing with 3 generations of weebs now. It's not 2003 anymore where you have to like be real quiet about your anime liking or else you get stuffed in a dumpster or something, you know? I didn't have that problem up in Maine because like you brought up anime, people thought you were weird anyway. But there was no physical violence in response to it. But I've heard of people getting roughed up for their anime liking when they were younger. And that's not the case anymore. Anime is pretty mainstream. It's pretty much on par with what's going on Cartoon Network. People don't treat it too much differently than the stuff that you're getting from Disney and stuff. In fact, it's preferable, it seems. So honestly, you're right. The marketing is the biggest problem is because they're not making an effort to explain to adults like, hey, you know, you can buy Dragon Ball and nobody's going to laugh at you. It's all right. You know, you can try out new things too. It's okay. It's just black and white on ink, man. Black and white on paper.
Well, the market is, no, it's not that. It's just that the market is there. The people already exist. The fans already exist. It's just and they want to see the content. I know people that are anime fans, like, for example, that wanted to go see Jujutsu Kaisen 0. They had no idea that it was in theaters at all because there was like no marketing.
Right. The Gundam movie suffered the same thing. So.
Yeah. That's the problem. They're just not marketing to people. It's just so weird. I just don't understand. Now would be the time to just go all out and just go full blown marketing and invest in this. But you saw the stuff with what McDonald's is doing. It's a shitty attempt at it, but at least they know that, you know, there's a market there. It's a generic attempt. They're getting slammed for it for their crap pandering attempt, but at least they tried.
Well, I mean, like, Arby's has been doing this with One Piece for years. I want to say like almost like 2 decades now. They've been cross-promoting with One Piece. So, but, oh well. McDonald's does it and the whole world lights on fire. Oh well.
But it was the way McDonald's did it was just so like, it was so generic. It was so shallow, and they missed the point of why people like Japan's McDonald's ads.
Typical American corporate mindsets. Yep.
Yeah, because with McDonald's Japan, it was very like, what's the word? Very genuine,
Wholesome,
and wholesome. Yeah, and
yeah.
What McDonald's did, American McDonald's did was very
Plastic.
corporate and soulless and diversity, and it was just so meh.
Gross.
And it felt more American than it did Japan.
Yep.
It's like they missed the point. It was ridiculous.
Leave it to America. But that brings us to the end of the episode here. We've reached the 2-hour mark.
Let's be real.
Yeah, that's for real. Yeah. I tell you to hit like and subscribe if you want more content like this, but I don't want to report on mangaka anime legends dying. I want to discuss all the cool stuff they're doing while they're alive. So if you feel like hitting like and subscribe, we'd appreciate it. But otherwise, Nerdigans, where can they find you in better times?
You can find me on Nerdigans Inc. on YouTube, where I cover anime and manga, whether it be mainstream or underrated series that end up becoming mainstream. And also on Twitter at Packergirl, at P9CKER_girl.
Well, and be sure to check out Bounding into Comics as we continue to cover the news. We will have a write-up about Akira Toriyama's passing and the projects that he leaves behind very soon.
Yeah, we're going to do a little bit more research and see what's going, see what projects, if we can find any more info on the projects he's leaving behind, because that really stuck out. Something is very suspicious about that.
Corporate.
Yeah, because that's really weird. The timing of this and all. I want to see like the announcements before I post any. I'm gonna see if before I put out an article on it, I'm gonna do a little bit more research and see what's going on from the Dragon Ball room and see all the statements coming out, see what else is happening.
Well, all right then.
Right.
I wish you all a wonderful evening. If you can find it in your heart to smile again, you know, it's a rough evening, and for those folks with the Toriyama family, our hearts go out to you. We wish you some type of recovery if it's possible. Good night.